Italian Germany. He received his diploma in chemistry in 1983 and a PhD degree from the Friedrich Maximilian University under the supervision of Professor Beck in 1986. And after the postdoctoral position with Professor Weigand group at ETH Zurich, Switzerland in 1986 to 87, he returned to the Friedrich Maximilian University and he received his habilitation in 1994. Since 1997, he is professor of inorganic chemistry at the Friedrich University, Jena, at the present university. He is interested in the coordination chemistry of carbon-containing ligands, including models for the iron-iron hydrogenase, as well as metal complexes for anti-cancer therapy and prebiotic chemistry. That is, prebiotic nitrogen fixation synthetic cells. He was invited as a visiting professor to Jena, Austria, 1997, and Nano University, Japan, in 2004. He was awarded the research prize at the Turing Minister for Science Research and Art, and 2008, some medal of merit of the University of Łódź, Poland. He is a member of the editorial board of scientific journals such as Phosphorus Sulfur Silicon and Journal of Inorganic Biochemistry. This is his fifth exam. Okay, so let's start.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I think also very much Professor Lee for inviting me or to giving me the opportunity to attend this very interesting HiSET program, and I'm very happy to be a guest here in Saitama again. Professor Ishii mentioned already I'm here the fifth time, 1998, the first time 2004, 2006, 2009, and now 2013. Yes, and today I will talk in my lecture. Oh, sorry, I think you're allowed. Today I will talk about some aspects of antitumor active platinum complexes in related to coordination chemistry. Mostly I will talk about textbook knowledges and then a little bit about our research, and at the end I will give you some aspects or some insights to our university. First, textbook knowledge, then a little bit about our collaboration with two colleagues, one colleague from Florence, Italy, the other Kepler from Vienna. It is in a European network. We are a so-called COST, a Cooperation of Science and Technology. Yeah, first, some general remarks about metals in medicine. That is a nice picture from Peter Sadler from England, and he made here, or depicted here, a period table of medicine. And this metal, which is most interesting now for us today, is platinum. And you see, platinum is one very important metal in anti-cancer therapy. How this story began, I will show you some pictures. The story began with Barnett Rosenberg. These are drawings from a friend of mine in Vienna, from Bernhard Kepler. He offered me the opportunity to show these cartoons. Barnett Rosenberg, here you see it was born 1926 in Europe, past 2009. And in the 60s, end of the 60s, he made an interesting experiment. The experiment is shown here. There is here a resin and inside a solution, ammonium chloride. Is platinum electrodes, and he was interested to investigate the influence of a voltage, net voltage, to Escherichia coli. It was his idea. And what he's observing, he observed, here you see a graph from the normal bacteria. That's the normal shape of the bacteria, Escherichia coli. And then later, the shape of this Escherichia coli is changing, and from this normal shape, now we have these long chains. The bacteria died, the end of the bacteria. In this solution of ammonium chloride in the presence of electric field. What was the reason for this? The reason, a normal chemist, or let's say not so very good chemist, would throw away this experiment. But he was an excellent chemist, and that is always, we are all excellent chemists, and therefore we are interested to investigate not the normal things, but the abnormal things. And that is an abnormal thing. And which reaction we're running for? Probably is the picture in German, but it is from original paper from Bernhard Kepler, his colleague from Vienna. But I can explain you the experiment, the reaction. There are special reactions in this aperture. The platinum electrodes were oxidized to platinum-4. Platinum-4 is reacting with chlorido or chloride to the hexachloridoplatinum-4. Then in the presence of ammonia ions, you get this salt, and then you have a photoreaction reduction forming this cisplatin diamino tetrachloro. Sorry, it must be here 2. It's a reduction of 2. It's platinum 4, platinum 2, and then we have the so-called cisplatin. That is a reaction which were carried out in this experiment shown by Rosenberg. And Rosenberg has realized that cisplatin has a strong influence to the growth and to the living of this bacteria. And now he was interested to say, okay, this cisplatin is active against bacteria. It could be also interesting against other bacteria, other virus, or maybe against cancer. And so he started to investigate systematically this cisplatin. It was really an experiment by chance. It was serendipity experiment. He has now this cisplatin. It is an old copper. It was first synthesized 1844 by a Pyro. Then, middle of the 60s, Rosenberg experiments on the influence of electric fields in the bacterial growth. Then, 69, there was a discovery of the tumor-inhibiting properties of cisplatin after cis-configured and cis by Rosenberg. And in the late 70s, application of cisplatin in protein therapy. Cisplatin and its derivatives belong to the best-selling anti-cancer drugs. And Rosenberg was very active in cooperation with companies. And so companies accepted this, companies sold this, and so it was really a very new drug on the market against cancer. Here we have an X-ray photograph done by Bernhard Kepler. Bernhard Kepler from Vienna is a chemist but also a medical doctor, so he was both sides. And he made this X-ray photograph of lungs, of these two lungs. And you see here on the left side, these bright spots here are bronchial metastases. And these bronchial metastases disappeared within a few cycles of platinum therapy with cisplatin. Right here you can see the metastases disappeared. It's really a very potent anti-cancer agent. So you all know you can buy this. You can cisplatin is a clinical application, as infusions, as drugs, and other formulations. But normally you get cisplatin by infusion. Yeah, that was the beginning of this story. It was a experiment. The intention of this experiment was totally different from that what now is the result. In the meantime, there are some other platinum complexes in the anti-cancer therapy. That's the original, cisplatin. In the meantime, you have the second and third generation compounds, the so-called carboplatin and the oxaliplatin. And in 50% of all cancer therapy schedules, mainly against testicular, ovarian, head, neck, lung, and bladder cancer. And here, this one is used advanced colorectal cancer. And these are so-called, here you have 1.2 billion euros, and this is 2 billion per year. So-called blockbusters in the pharmaceutical industry. 2 billion euros a year. You can see it's a very important drug. Now here you have a collection of all pharmaceutically used compounds. It's cisplatin. Then some ligands are changed. Here in the carboplatin, you have instead of the chlorido-ligands, this decarboxylic acid ligand, or the oxaliplatin. We have a change in the amine, the megaplatin, logaplatin, and heptaplatin. But in all cases, and that's important, all cases you have cis structure, not a trans structure, a cis structure, and that is very important for the biological activity to have a cis structure. You will see the differences later. Yes, and there are some companies which are producing these compounds, and one company that is Heraeus in Hanau, and 2 years ago we were invited there for a small symposium about new development in this field, and here you see some colleagues, and here IB, and you see we are here in this aperture, in this blend, oxaliplatin will be produced. It is like a leg, still a bit larger than normal. But you see, you have to orient these moon dresses, and it was a very interesting conference. Yeah, but now, what is the reason? Why is cisplatin so active? What is the molecular interaction? And that was realized, or it was assumed relatively early, already in the 70s, in the 80s, 70s, it was assumed that there is an interaction between the DNA and the cisplatin. Here you have a single-strand DNA, anion with floating anions, and the red one, the arrows are binding sites for heavy metals. Here, at these nitrogen atoms, you can coordinate heavy metals. It is assumed, or you can see here this. Here you have the nucleic acid bases, the base pairs, the AT and the EC. You know this, adenosine and tyrosine and guanine and cytosine. These are the 4 nucleobases, and A3 is sterilely protected. This one is sterilely protected. So N7 is not involved, so it is available for M bonding. Here, at first, N7, this nitrogen atom, there a heavy metal, can coordinate. And it is assumed that that atom, the metal coordinates. Yes, and now the question, words coordinated, let's say, A or the G, adenine or the guanine. In both cases, we have N7, but in this case, we have the NH group. In this case, we have a keto group. The question now were, which is the preferring molecule for coordinating, maybe of, for example, for platinum. And you can explain this very easily. We have here the hydrolyzed platinum complex, because if you applicate the cisplatin, there is a hydrolyzation of this complex in aqueous medium, aqueous solution. In this case, the chlorido will be substituted by water, and you have these fragments, the diamine platinum 2 fragments. The chlorido are substituted by water. So we have this molecule, and you have either the coordination here, or you have the coordination here. And you can see in this case, in the burning case, here you have a spherical hindrances, but here it is possible to draw a hydrogen bond between the keto O and the NH group. And therefore, this coordination is preferred in this one. So you have this coordination to the urine. That is the place where the hydrolyzed platinum complex will, the cisplatin will coordinate. Now we have to ask a fundamental question: what is the difference between organic and inorganic drugs? That is a typically inorganic drug. On the other hand, you have a lot of organic drugs, maybe all these antibiotics, these tetracyclines, and so on, which are also anti-cancer active, very anti-cancer active, and mostly you applicate a mixture of organic anti-cancer drug with inorganic cancer drug. And what is different? The difference is, of course, it is an easy one electron reduction possible within many metal ions. You have easy changes in structure due to metal ligand dissociation reactions used as a product. These compounds can be used as products. There's a kinetic differences are metal dependent. There's the question of kinetic. Then metal ions, and that's important. Metal ions as such are not degradable. The metal will be exchanged from the body by dilution, and you can isolate in principle the platinum after several hours or after a day. What is not the case if you have pure organic compounds. Then there are drugs with so-called slow metals like platinum or lithium, or slowly exchanging chelating ligands, or you have fast metals. That means you have a fastly exchange on cellular or biological time scale. You know this from also from the lessons. There are so-called inert metals or metal complexes and lead metal complexes. That is very important in the application also of these drugs, because if the exchange rate is too slow, there's no development of interaction, and if it's too quick, sometimes it will not come to the place where it will be active. So you will have to tune the kinetic of these complexes. And here I have a picture from Professor Weigand. He gave me this. Here you have a ligand exchange rate per second for aqua complexes of metal ions. These are the rapid, the fast metals, the so-called, and these are the slow complexes. Here, platinum, ruthenium. These are middle size. They are not too fast, but not too slow. Therefore, this platinum 2 and ruthenium 2 are the most preferred complexes in this anti-cancer therapy. Not palladium. Palladium is a fast metal. So palladium is not usable for this anti-cancer therapy. Also not iridium, or also platinum 4. Platinum 4 can be used as a prodrug. You can applicate platinum 4 prodrugs, and then you reduce in vivo the platinum 4 to platinum 2, and then you are developing the active species. That is a very important aspect. Okay, that is some preliminary remarks. Now, some words about the historical development. I mentioned it also at the beginning. The historic development, that is the first generation, the so-called cisplatin. We have the second generation, changing of the chlorido ligands, maybe here by these carboxylator groups. And then we have drug targeting. That's very important at the moment. That is now the present research. The present research is not more to develop new platinum compounds, or not more so much platinum compounds, but more to investigate the interaction of these small molecules with protein, the so-called or the protein interaction with platinum, so-called drug targeting, and to applicate then atoms of platinum with drugs with proteins, or you produce so-called prodrugs, and you generating the active species in vivo. Then you have the picoplasmin, that's transplanted isomers. I told you at the beginning, it is very important to have cis compounds, and that's also right. About 90 to 95% of all active platinum species are cis. But now, also in the last few years, there's a development to synthesize transplanted compounds, and few of them are also active. But that's another story. But mostly, cis is the most important configuration. That is also a trend in research to produce dinuclear and trinuclear compounds. It means 2 or 3 platinum compounds, or also hetero-trimethylic complexes. And finally, we have other metals like ruthenium and mixed metal complexes. That is also a trend in the recent research. That is overview. It's written by Jan Weigand from Netherlands. He's one of the leading persons on this field. He's now retired. He's around 70, but he's still active, and he's one of the most important person on this field. And he has written a very interesting review article. I think it's also interesting for you because it's written very good way. It is not too difficult to read, and I've taken some pictures from this review here in my presentation. Because in textbooks you cannot find so many things about this important field of chemistry, but this is really a teaching article from Jan Weigand. That is also what I would like to show you, how long the way from the university to the pharmaceutical company. And it is really a very long way to know this. It is a way over many of years, sometimes 10, 15 years, and millions of dollars you need for the development of a new drug. And here we see this long way. We are working here. That is, we are working you, and we are working here. Synthesis. It's a very beginning. The synthesis, characterization, stability, biotransformation, interaction with biomolecules. That is at the very beginning. And then followed by in vitro studies, in vivo studies. But in vivo studies, most laboratories like ours cannot carry out in vivo studies. We have to make collaboration with other groups. Some groups have in vivo studies, but it's better to collaborate with the hospital. We do this in our case with the hospital at the University of Jena. Then you have to find an industrial partner, and mostly research stops here. Most you make beautiful complexes, you are testing these complexes, but then it's the end. And just a few compounds come to the industrial partner. You have to find an industrial partner who is investigating the toxicology, the dose range finding, acute super toxicity. And you need, and then the GLP, the good laboratory practice. That is very important. The bulk synthesis, the galenic formulation, the pharmaceutical formulation, infusion, tablets, and so on. And you have also to find dose find studies in tumor packages without first establishing therapeutic function. And after this, you come to the clinic phase 1. It's already a long step to clinic phase 1. And then the clinic phase 2. That is the efficiency of particular tumor entities. And then, again, a small part of these tested here, tested in clinical phase 2, mostly clinical phase 2 is the end of when some of these compounds came here in this phase. Most of these compounds will be thrown away here. And very, very few compounds came to clinical phase 3. And finally, there's a comparison with standard therapy in wise disease for approval. That is very important. And finally, clinical phase 4, the marketing phase. You see, a very long way from the laboratory to clinical phase 4 and for the pharmaceutical production. That is what we have in our mind. That is very difficult to work on this topic, and the most laboratory, also our laboratory, is more interested in some aspects, in some questions about interaction. Why is platinum interacting with this molecule? So not, I say frankly, we are not, or we cannot develop a new drug that is for us impossible. And for most of these laboratories are working on this field, or this network, this European network I mentioned at the beginning, the COST, C-O-S-T, COST, most of them are working here in this field. And mostly medical doctors and other are working here, and that's one way. Here's also, that is also very interesting review article from Calent and Nature Review Cancer from 2007. I can also recommend you to read this article. It's also written in a very, very good way. It is showing the time scale from 1965, from the discovery of the biological properties of cisplatin bacteria by Arnold Rosenberg. And here, all the steps, I will not deal with all these steps in detail, but here you have, here's the last one, the satraplatins of the 4th generation, satraplatins being considered for approval by the US FDA for prostate cancer. That is now, you see, that is more than 40 years. More than 40 years. The story of these platinum-based drugs. It's a long story and with very important results. I think that is important. 1985 description of the virus platin-induced adults formed on DNA. I mentioned this before. In the beginning of the 80s, there were done first important experiments on the interaction of DNA with cisplatin. There is also important identification of the role of elevated glutathione in causing tumor resistance to cisplatin, because the, cisplatin shows also resistance, and this observation was investigated in the 90s, mostly by Peter Sadler. Yeah, now, hypothesis for the mechanism of cisplatin and related compounds. We can summarize here the first results. Cisplatin binds a DNA on a very specific site and several positions of 2 working bases because of this hydrogen interaction. Then the resulting distortion of the DNA is relatively small. That's a so-called kink. And replication of platinum DNA itself is blocked. That is assumed the mechanism when we assume that platinum is coordinating to the cisplatin. That we have a relatively, I will show you a cartoon later, a relatively small kink, a small distortion of the DNA, and then the replication of the DNA itself is blocked. And that is what okay, now that I will explain the data. The distortion is not recognized in certain tumor cells, and DNA is not repaired. That is the reason. The platinum is coordinating. We have a relatively small kink, and the cell at the moment is not recognizing this damage at the DNA, and therefore the DNA will not be repaired by different repair mechanisms. And so, later, when it's too late, the DNA cannot replicate it, and there's a cell death. In other healthy resistant cells, the damage is recognized and repaired. That is important. possible correlation modes of cisplatin. We have here the active form, inactive form, and what is different? The cisplatin. And therefore it is so important when I told you cisplatin, the cis configuration. The cisplatin is hydrolyzing. We have this moiety, this diamino platinum moiety, and this is now coordinated in a cross-link to the two guanine bases, leading to this adduct. And we have here a small kink, a small distortion. In the other case, if we would have a trans complex, you have a crosslink with a large distortion. And this large distortion will be recognized by reparature mechanism of the cell. And then the cell reparature mechanism will be active, and then this platinum will be removed from the DNA. This is also inactive because there is, if we have just this one, just a monocorrelation, we have no crosslink. It's a small distortion. It cannot. There's inactive. It's no crosslinks monitor. And then you have here this D-platinum complex, and you have active because of a crosslink small distortion. So these are active. These are inactive. So we have a rationale behind the design of the accelerator bridge either the platinum compounds leading to a crosslink and a very small distortion. That is the most important thing when you plan to design a new anti-cancer platinum-containing compound. What is the main resistance mechanism? I told you there are some resistance mechanisms. We have here the plasma membrane, we have the cytoplasma. We have here the intact cisplatin after hybridization. We have the drug delivery, it's intracellular, then it's transporting to the nuclear, to the cell nucleus, it's the DNA binding. Here I will inform that it's also important that a maximum of 1 to 2%, just a very small quantity of the applicated cisplatin drug will be transported at least to the nucleus. Just 1 to 2%. Other quality will be to other molecules outside the nuclear and so on. And that is what we are interested to investigate. And then when there's a DNA binding, you have the necrosis, the deltas, and the apoptosis. And what are now the resistance mechanism? You have a reduced accumulation. Too small quantity of platinum will be accumulated. Or you have an increased deactivation of sulfur-containing molecules. Maybe glutathione. Glutathione is one of these molecules here with the SH group, and sulfur and platinum, both are soft atoms, and therefore you have a very effective interaction, and so most of the platinum will be coordinated to such kinds of molecules. You have an increased nucleotide excision repair, or you have an increased tolerance. That is also the main resistance. And finally, we have the decreased apoptosis, decreased second. That are main resistance mechanisms. And therefore, scientists are interested to synthesize new platinum containing drugs to avoid this resistance mechanism. That is one intention why, although we have 7 or 8 platinum compounds available, conversion available, it's nevertheless important to develop new types. It is not more so than years ago, but nevertheless it is important to synthesize some new compounds. Here we have now requirements for new antitumor drugs. It's important that they are patentable. And that is always the mistake or the what we are doing at the university, we prepare something and we have to synthesize a complex or a compound, and then we have to publish this. And everybody likes to publish a compound and some results, but that is absolutely important. Before publication, you have to make a patent. And if you make a patent, then it's not, and if you publish before, it's not possible to make a patent. And then this compound is absolutely useless for companies. And that is the problem. We need publications for grants and so on, and for PhD theses and so on. That is really the problem to make this for a patent. Then they should be water soluble and water stable. It's also water soluble and water stable. They will not hydrolyze too fast. Survive blood protein attacks. Survive sulfur attack. That is what I will talk in the next part. Survive sulfur attack in the cell. That it binds to DNA. And to give a unique DNA binding. Activates cisplatin resistance cells. That is also requirements for new antitumor drugs. And this can be any metal compound provided this has proper lipid exchange kinetics. So we have several requirements for new antitumor drugs. That is really important. Now you have some US data. What is the new intention? You have an introduction of biofunctionality. Sometimes fluorescers attached to this molecule. Then you can detect where the molecule will bind. Second method, homonuclear bis platinum compounds, or second method, heteronuclear platinum, platinum copper, or other, mostly platinum, platinum copper, but it could be also maybe other metals, but mostly platinum ruthenium. That could be interesting compounds. And here this also taken from Jan Riedijk. It's also a very interesting paper. It's a micro review in European Journal of Chemistry, published 2009. I can also recommend this paper to read. That you can, it's really excellent. These two papers from Riedijk I recommend are really excellent papers, 2008 and 2009. You can read really state of the art. Yeah, you have the cisplatin. The cisplatin will enter the cell by special mechanisms. Then you have the hydrolyzation of this compound. The hydrolysis or the reaction with a sulfur donor, then it's inactive. Then it will be removed. Or it could be possible that both are have a transfer to the nucleus. It's possible or not. That is the exact question. But if you have the hydrolyzed system, it comes to the nucleus, and then we have a DNA binding, and it is proper way about the N7 of the guanine, and we have the key DNA. Or if it's resistant, if there's a resistance, we have a repaired DNA. That is, and it's inactive. Or you have no DNA repair, then we have a cell death. And then after this, after the cell death, the platinum will be excreted from the body. That is the pathway is much more complicated, but this is a first impression how complicated are all these reactions inside this inside the cell. Now, I mentioned it, the most important interaction is the interaction of platinum with sulfur. We have platinum sulfur interaction inside and outside the cell. And you know, all proteins have a lot of sulfur inside. And these are positions for coordinating of platinum. And then we have maybe an inactive species. And here, that's taken from a very interesting review article, the anti-cancer agents in Medicine and Chemistry from 2009 from WHO. Yeah, here are all depicted. I will not go in detail to this very complicated picture, but what I will show you, that there are many, many sulfur traps for platinum. We have outside, we have the human serum albumin, the human serum albumin. There are sulfur atoms. They are already outside. This platinum can be coordinated. It's useless for further application. Then, when it's go inside, we have interaction with metallothioneins or with glutathione. In both cases, we have an inactivation of platinum. And then most of the applied platinum quantities will be removed by these mechanisms, the reaction with sulfur. And just 1 to 2% will come inside the DNA and finally coordinate to the DNA. And now I will come in a few slides to our research. Or should we interrupt here for questions? Should we, is it okay to make some questions before I continue, or should we talk at the end? What do you? Okay. Okay.
Does someone has questions?
Thank you for your presentation, and it is very interesting for me. I have one question. Where the platinum complex goes into body finally? For example, I know if there are aluminum in brain, aluminum Alzheimer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So
yeah, I understand. You mean where the accumulation of the platinum? Yes. Yeah, that's a very important question. Very good question. The problem is the side effects of this platinum leads to nephrotoxicity. It's nephrotoxicity and neurotoxicity. That are the most dangerous side effects. And therefore, sometimes you applicate together with cisplatin a sulfur-containing compound, but not too much. But that some of this platinum will be coordinated to maybe glutathione or to lipoic acid. Maybe lipoic acid will be applicated, so you can avoid these, or not avoid, but a little bit avoid these side effects. But that's very important thing.
Anyone? Please continue.
Okay. How long? 550. I will show you some pictures, pictures from our research, and then I will give some report about our university. Okay, our objective is following to investigate following question. Platinum possesses high affinity to soft sulfatomes. After the hard and soft acid-base principle, you know this word is HSRP principle. It's a very simple but a very potent theory or to estimate when is a complex stable or unstable. Soft and soft, hard and hard. Platinum and sulfur are both soft atoms. Sulfur-containing biomolecules are available in blood and cytoplasm. That is what we have to know, that we have a lot of sulfur-containing biomolecules, methionine, cysteine, glutathione, metallothionein, albumin. all of these biomolecules are full of sulfur atoms. So these are real, I call it sulfur traps. And we have platinum-based drugs, or platinum-based drugs can coordinate to available binding sites. So the platinum can coordinate to all of these biomolecules. And are forming platinum biomolecular atoms. And there are two possibilities. Either we have an inactivation, then we have a resistance, or on the other hand, we have the case that this platinum biomolecular atom will precipitate the anti-cancer process. That could be possible. And that is also one branch of research to investigate if these atoms are acting as so-called drug reservoirs, as cell absorption detoxification, but on the other hand, as drug reservoirs that you have form a platinum biomolecular atom, and this atom can release slowly the active platinum species. Here we made some experiments together with Kepler and all diseases interesting from he died in 1999. And my laboratory, we are sulfur chemists, so from this time it stems our also the collaboration with Professor Ishii. We are both sulfur chemists, and we thought, okay, we have some experience of the sulfur chemistry, or this coordination chemistry of sulfur ligands, and now we have started to test some of these compounds. And we have used all these compounds. Here we have investigated the interaction of the oxaliplatin here with this diaminohexane with methionine. Methionine is an amino acid, also a very important amino acid in peptides, or the interaction with lipoic acid, or then we have now developed new compounds, this one and this one. And I will tell you a little bit about these compounds. Normally, phosphate uterine platinum complexes are not active in cancer therapy, and they are also just scarcely tested for cytotoxicity. So we decided, okay, let's start with this chemistry. What is with phosphate-containing platinum complexes? We have a very stable platinum phosphate bond, and the leaving liquid would be the dithiolate in the case of these chelating phosphates. So the active species should be this one. And then we synthesized all these compounds, shown here, more lipophilic one, amphiphilic one because of this phosphine, that's the water-soluble phosphine, and hydrophilic one, the water-soluble phosphine. We have characterized all these compounds in detail, and here we have now the cell test. The cell test, we have used one of these cancer cell lines, the HeLa cell line, that's a common cancer cell line, and we investigated the cytotoxicity of these compounds. We determined this with a special colorimetric assay that is well established, and you see here, you can see here, these different complexes, and what you can see that here are one very active compound, and that's WW3. They get this one with this OH group. That is, on the one side, it's lipophilic, on the other side, it's more lipophilic. And this is the most reactive or most active compound in this series. And here we compare it now with cisplatin. And cisplatin, and we investigated the interaction or the activity of these compounds against cisplatin sensitive and cisplatin resistant cells. So cisplatin is resistant against this cell line, and there we have the sensitive cell line. And what you see here, what you can see here, that these compounds are astonishingly active. It was not, we could not see in future how active are these compounds. one result from our laboratory, but okay, we have published this paper. We have to, that is, yeah, what I told you before, it's probably we cannot make a patent. But the result is important. Although these compounds will interact with sulfur ligands, they are still active. So I can summarize the first results. We have synthesized and isolated a series of novel bisphosphane dithyroplatinum complexes with various phosphane ligands, and we have first promising results of cytotoxicity towards 3 different cell lines. We have suggestion for structure-activity relationship for new bisphosphane dithyroplatinum 2 complexes with a free OH group possesses lowest persistence ratio. That is the most promising compound. And so it is a possibility for development of new compounds based on these criteria. And that is what we have published recently. We have investigated the behavior of very small, very well-known complexes towards cytochrome C. And cytochrome C is known, that is involved in the origin of cancer. And, or it's an indicator for origin of cancer. And we have investigated the interaction of these simple complexes with cytochrome C, but that's a different story. Yeah, and now, very recently, we have used now a very small new ligand system, also kind of this cis complex with this OS ligand. That's from our former research with a chloride ligand, which can hydrolyze, and here heme is O. And now we are investigating this complex more in detail, and I think here some show this one. And now we make modification of solubility and activity of this compound. And at this point, I will close my presentation. This is now a very promising new system. We have shown that this complex is new. It's a new structure in this new structure in this chemistry. This compound shows very interesting and promising activities against cisplatin resistance cell lines, and we are working on this in the future. Okay, that is what I want to tell you, some aspects from our research. Thank you very much. That is the first part.
Does someone have questions about the
I didn't understand well the part. You said that your investigation is focused on finding proteins to disintoxicate the cisplatin in the body?
Yes. This complex we will use for a so-called drug targeting. We are now investigating the interaction of this complex, this molecule, with special proteins which are involved in the origin of cancer, or are related to the origin of cancer. And now we will investigate the interaction of this with these proteins. That is, I think in this case we made some experiments. This molecule shows a very low interaction with DNA, but this compound is active. And so it must be a different mechanism. It could not be the normal mechanism, just DNA cisplatin. It must be a different mechanism, and we assume that is an interaction with special proteins. And now we are in collaboration with a group in Lisboa. They will make an infrastructure from the adduct of this platinum complex with a protein. And mostly cytochrome C is a very important thing, and also the horse liver, horse liver protein is also an important indicator for this.
In this new protein, okay, in this new structure that you already built, what is the difference between the basic cisplatin and this, the percent of?
Yeah, the basic is in the case of cisplatin, we have here nitrogen, two amines, ammonia or amines of amines. And here we have a chelating complex ONS, and we have a different different aspects to discuss here. You have here a chloride, a chloride ligand, trans to the sulfur. You have different trans effects. You know the trans effect in the coordination chemistry. The trans effect means as a ligand trans to another ligand has a special influence in the kinetic, in the exchange. And here you have sulfur and you have oxygen with different exchange rates. And we have here anionic ligand, here we have a neutral ligand. When you remove the chlorido ligand and the DMSO, you have just platinum plus, not 2 plus in the case of cisplatin. And so you have different coordination. That could be also the reason why this compound will not coordinate to the DNA, but better to a protein. That are some differences. It's a totally different molecule.
So this one doesn't bind to the DNA, but to a protein in the cell.
And it's more to be assumed that this is more, or it's preferring, or the correlation to DNA, to proteins is preferred compared to that to DNA.
What is the binding site to the cytochrome C in the case of the?
Yes, we made here some Here are some protein interactions with cytochrome C. At the moment, in thermometer infrastructure, at the moment we don't know where the platinum will coordinate. We know that this complex will coordinate to cytochrome C. We have here in the ACFS spectra cytochrome C, and we have here 2 atoms. We have one atom with one platinum OS moiety. It is clear that the chlorino ligand and the DMSO has been eliminated or substituted. And we have also this mass indicating that we have cytochrome C and 2 molecules. Exactly not more, 1 and 2. And it's difficult to decide by spectrometry where platinum is coordinated to which element, but therefore we are interested to get a X-ray structure or a molecular structure. What we made are competitive experiments with glutathione, but here we have no detection. So we assume, it will be sulfur or nitrogen. That is the question, but we don't know at the moment. but that is also the method to investigate protein interaction by ACS spectra.
Other questions?
I have.
Okay.
Actually, no relation with this lecture. What do you think is different between Japanese students and other students?
The difference between
For example, English is motivation. Japanese student and
okay. Should we? I can talk after my presentation. I think I have a presentation that will come. If you agree, we can discuss this later.
My major is physics, so I have one I don't understand the word in this presentation. So I don't understand. I don't know the word
S donor. S donor. That means sulfur donor. The sulfur, maybe a thiolate. A thiolate or a thiolate or a thioether, and the sulfur is a sulfur. Oh, thank you very much. The sulfur is a very good donor. It's a soft ion.
はい、飲み物後ろにあるから、実は後ろに来て取ってってくれます。はい、そっちの方の文化がさっと取ってってもらって、ことの次について。
プラチナが
それがいくら問題ないんだけど、2、3、
お茶と紅茶。
それ同士で書き起こうと
あそこの間で
から、RNA がつかないのがよくなって、
でもなんか普通になんかくの字に曲がってなかった。
そうなんですよ。でその結果、その細胞が
転写がうまく
なって
がん化するのか死んじゃうのかな。
がん化するか。
がん細胞に対して PT がつけてって形にして、
だからそれを使って物理的にやればいいかな。
だからそのがん化した細胞にとってにできないかとしたらもともとそれは分かってる
勝手に見るとやばいから制御してやるにはうまく使えるみたいな。
うまく制御できるようにこのいろいろこの元が入ってそれをベースとしていろんな作ってみたよって
じゃあ大学の紹介だと
そうだよ。
From our university, and we introduce you our university. It's called Schiller Universität, Wiener. I will explain what or who was Friedrich Schiller. We come a bit later. It's a relatively old university. What it is, I will explain you a bit later. It was founded 1558, and it's a so-called full university. We have 10 faculties: the theological faculty, faculty of law, faculty of economics, the philosophical faculty, faculty of social behavioral science, faculty of mathematics, computer science, physics, astrophysics, chemistry, earth science, biological and pharmaceutical faculty, and faculty of medicine. It's a typical full university. And I will short introduction to our faculty, the faculty of chemistry and earth science. We have different institutes. That's typically German. It's a typically German organization. We have the faculty and we have some institutes. And we have the Institute for Inorganic and Analytic Chemistry. I am a member of this institute. We have Institute of Organic and Macromolecular Chemistry, Institute of Physical Chemistry, Institute of Technical and Environmental Chemistry, the famous Otto Schott Institute for Glass Chemistry, Teaching Chemistry, Institute of Earth Science, Institute of Geography. That is an organization. We have one faculty, and the faculty is divided in several independent institutes. More or less, we have per institute, we are 4 to 6 professors. And these professors are combined into the faculty. And at the moment, we have, or that was last year, I have numbers. We have around 1,500 students in all these institutes. It's a faculty and 208 graduate students, PhD students. That is all this chemistry and earth science and geography. It's a big size faculty. And from the historical point of view, that was more or less the founder of this chemistry department. That was Johann Wolfgang Weigand. Here he was born in 1708. He passed 1849. He was a scientific. It's a time of Goethe. Goethe was he was responsible. Goethe was responsible, but we'll later a bit more about this. Goethe was responsible that Weigand came to Jena. Goethe, you know, of this famous German poet, and his name is connected with very important things in the field of chemistry. In Latin chemistry, he was one of the first chemists in a very early stage who deals with Latin chemistry. Latin is catalyst, and he developed a very, very smart device, a so-called light, firelight, for a cigarette or for cigars. And it's very interesting. He investigated that you can activate freshly prepared hydrogen that is prepared here inside this device. We have sulfuric acid and zinc, and then you produce hydrogen, and the hydrogen comes out here, and there's a stream of this hydrogen to platinum, so-called platinum black. That is very highly platinum with a high, with a great surface, and it's very active. And so you can activate the hydrogen and also activate oxygen, and then you can here produce a fire. And that was the first light for lighting cigarettes or cigars. And that was 1828. And he became very famous at the time about this investigation, about this development. I think, and the interesting thing is the mechanism of this reaction has been investigated more than years later, in 1999, the mechanism was investigated by the Nobel Prize winner Gerhard Ertl. Maybe you have heard about Gerhard Ertl. He investigated the Haber-Bosch process and also the process of the Döbereiner light. And then he was one of the proceeders of the modern periodic system, periodic table, and also very important in the quantitative analysis. I think he's compared, people are more related to Liebig. Liebig is the most important or the most famous one, but I think Döbereiner was also very, very important for the development of the modern chemistry. And he was the founder of the Chemical Institute in department in Jena. Okay, now back to the university. Here are, we have at the moment around 350 professors and scientific staff around 2,000. And altogether, we have 6,800 employees, but most in the medicine, two-thirds in the medicine in the hospitals. And there are also employees paid with third-party funds. There are additional around 1,300 employees. So it's a sort of middle-sized university, but it's the most important employer in Jena. And here, with this new campus, that's a student restaurant, and here the campus. That was the former Zeiss company, but I will show you this also in a few minutes. Now we have 20 bachelor degree courses and 64 master degree courses, and we have teachers courses and so on. Now the development of number of students. Here, when I was appointed professor at the university, we had altogether around 13,000 students, and now we have more than 20,000. Within these 16 years, we have more than, we have around 8,000 students more. It is really an increasing university from around 12,000 to 20,000. The beginners are also increasing here from 2,800 16 years ago to 5,500 in the year 2011, 2012, the academic year 2011. Also a strong increase of beginners. What are the most important research profiles? We have different research profiles. We have optics, photonics, and photonic technologies. Then we have innovative materials and technologies. We have dynamics of complex biological systems, individuals and social changes, and the so-called laboratory of the enlightenment. Enlightenment, that is from the philosophy. And this five, sorry, it is written in German, sorry. These 5 points are optics, innovative materials, and these are forming the university's profile, and that is called light, life, and liberty. And these are the 3 aspects of our university: light, life, and liberty. Yeah, we have also now, during the last few years, so-called research centers, but that you know also. Japan, we have, I think Japan was earlier with these research centers. We have now also research centers, several research centers: history, philosophy, mathematics, ethics, bioinformatics, biomedicine, polysaccharides, sepsis, control and care, and Jena Center of Soft Matter, where I'm also a member, that is dealing with polymers and application of polymers. Now, the university has an institution network. We have an agreement of 109 universities in 20 European and 20 non-European countries, and one university is also Saitama University is one of these 109 universities. Then we have this European exchange program, the so-called Erasmus program, and there's a contract with 300 European partner universities. And since 1992, Jena is a member of the Coimbra group, and this group, in this group are members of so-called long-established European and multidisciplinary university with high international standard. That is Bologna, the oldest university in Europe, Salamanca, Oxford, Cambridge, Krakow, Heidelberg. That are the oldest university. Jena is also a member of this university. Now, the partners all over the world, you can see here all over the world we have partners, and also the number of international students are increasing in the last few years. Here from academic year 2006 from a little bit more than 1,000 to 1,600 in the academic year 2011. Increasing because normally Jena is a more, you can say, a provincial university. It's, Jena is a small city of 100,000. The population is 100,000. 100,000, a very small. It's a village compared to a very small village compared to Tokyo. And we are a kind of provincial university, but more and more we have international contact to other universities, and we became attractive. You can also see the international students in percent from 5% to more than 7% now in the academic year of 2011. Country of origin of international students, one half coming from Asia, a quarter from the European Union, and the other European, America, and Africa. That's interesting, 50% from Asia. And currently, I got this number just today. I have asked our Bureau of Affairs. Currently, 41 students from Japan are in. I think the number is not too high. I'm very happy with it. We get more students from Japan. It would be very interesting. There's also every week, I know, or every week or every month, there's a meeting for Japanese students in a student restaurant in Jena. And they're meeting in a restaurant, and the Japanese students come together. And they are tutors there. It's very, it's a nice place for students from other countries. Now, in the last few minutes, how many? 5 minutes? Can you go around? It is a long history of Jena. It is founded 1558 by Johann Friedrich I. It was an imperial custody. It was a duke of Saxonia, and he founded this university. And there were 4 faculties: philosophy, theology, law, and medicine. Here you can see the founder, the Duke Johann Friedrich I. There is a view of the very old university. That's the origin of the university. You can see some buildings from this time, from the 16th century. That is the last part. Some of this part are destroyed in the World War II, but you can see some that is the origin of the old university. Here, a picture from an old lecture hall, and it is a so-called Protestantic university, and you know that Germany has a religion war in the 16th century, and then we have a separation of the Christian to the Roman Catholics and to the Protestants. And that was in the 16th century, and the initiator was Martin Luther. Martin Luther was, before he was a Catholic, or was a Christian monk, and then he decided to be against the Pope. It's different. It's a very interesting history against the Pope, and then he began to separate from the Pope, and he created the so-called Protestantic Church. And Germany is up to now divided in its population, not divided is so strong, but there are 2 parts. There are the Roman Catholics, Christian, and the Protestantic Christian. And the south and the west is more Catholic, and middle Germany, Jena, and the north is more Protestantic. At that time, there are 200 to 400 students, very much paid, very small number of students. The development of the classical period in the 18th and 19th century, and the most important man in the history at that time was Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. You know this name, maybe you know this Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He's German's most important or most famous, one of the most famous authors and poets. And he studied law, and he became Minister of Science in this very small country, Saxonia-Weimar. Saxonia-Weimar was a very small country, but the Duke was able to get to appoint Goethe from Frankfurt to Weimar as a minister, and he promoted the development of our universities, the Botanic Garden, the library, and he was really a very important personality in Jena. And then there was this very important time, the classic period, and then Goethe appointed Friedrich Schiller as a professor. Friedrich Schiller is the other very important author in poet in Germany. He was originally a medical doctor, but he became a professor of history. And 1789 he was appointed of history and philosophy in Vienna. And at that time he wrote also historical works. Here you can see the house, Schiller's garden house. Here you can see, you can visit this. And he, Goethe, found the Weimar Theater, became the leading theater in Germany. The collaboration helped to a renaissance of drama in Germany. And Weimar, that was the capital of this small country, Saxonia-Weimar, and Weimar is also a very small village. Now it's 50 or 60,000 population, but that was the capital. And the distance from Jena to Weimar, about 20 kilometers. So there was a great exchange between Weimar and Jena. And then a lot of philosophers were there. Very important philosophers. It was a center of the classical German idealistic philosophy. And Kant's philosophy came from Kant's University to Jena, and then other very important philosophers came: Hegel, Fichte, Schelling. All these names are very important for the German philosophy. And all of these professors taught all these persons taught as professors in Jena. Also other famous authors, poets came to Jena as students, as professors, as authors. It was a very, the so-called wonder year, the wonder years in the classical romantic time period of Jena. Yeah, then at the beginning of 1800, there was a war against Napoleon, and the students were against Napoleon. The students were inspired by liberal and nationalistic ideas at the time, 1815, and though they were founded the so-called Burschenschaft, which the student fraternity. Today, it's better not to talk about this group because they are very right-wing orientated, but at that time they were liberal and against Napoleon. And the banner of this student fraternities was black, red, and gold, that later would become the national colors of Germany. And now, in the middle of the century, I've written here, it was here the so-called Meiji period. And in the Meiji period was also a go-ahead, it was a new idea, and that was also at that time in Jena, in point of view technical development. And at that time, there were three very important persons at the university and in the industry. It was Carl Zeiss, you know, the Zeiss lenses, the Zeiss micrographs, the microscopes. Otto Schott, who developed the lenses, the glass, and Ernst Abbe, he was a professor for physics and mathematics. He made calculations for all these lenses and for the very against the set theory of the microscope development size. This triumvirate, these three persons are very important for Jena. From that time on, there was a strong development of the population. The population was around 3,000, 4,000 before them, and then the population increased end of the 19th or beginning of the 20th century to 80,000. The reason was the company founded by Carl Zeiss. Yeah, then it was again a wonder years at that time. The new period of Jena, but all before the World War I, the World War First. That was the biologist Ernst Haeckel. He was the most important evolutionary theorist after Darwin. I will talk about tomorrow a little bit about Ernst. No, yeah, maybe. Then Frege, he was the founder of the mathematics and logics. Max Wien, he was a pioneer of the wireless telegraphy. Then Auguste Rodin, the famous sculptor, was also he has an honorary degree of our university, and also the Weimar Bauhaus, the new architecture ideas were realized in Jena and in Weimar by these famous people, Feininger, Paulté, Kandinsky, Schlemmer. All these persons were in Weimar and in Jena. And then this growing up, this wonder years, or this wonder period of Jena was interrupted strongly by the Nazi terror in the time 1933, 1945. And that's really a pity, because exactly at that time, our university received the name Friedrich Schiller University, but Schiller is absolutely no context to the NS period, but at that time Friedrich Schiller was the name given person for Jena. Okay, but what the really bad thing was that the Jena University became a model of National Socialist University and quickly came into being, and the leading representatives of the radical theory of euthanasia set up here. That was really a problem, because the concentration came Weimar, while Weimar on the one hand the cultural center, but on the other hand this terrible concentration came Weimar. So at that time Jena was really it was a really bad time for Jena University because of the euthanasia ideology. After 1945, now Germany was divided into two parts. In the west part, West Germany, and the East Germany. And unfortunately, Jena was part of the East Germany, East German part. So Jena was a part of East Germany. And at that time, now the university changed after a short reorganization time, very short period, a democratic period in 1945, not in 1946. It became now not a national socialistic, now it became a socialistic university, a very red, before it was a brownish university, then it became a red university. And that was again a great problem for this university. It was also a research high-rise, and this time it was also built so-called research high-rise building there, and so on. Okay. Now, Jena, from 1933 until 1989, Jena was under a totalitarian system. And in the consequences you can feel a little bit now, but more and more these problems can be overcome. But you have 1993, 89, they are around 55 years was a totalitarian country. This has been a university history. And then, after 1989, after the so-called peaceful political revolution, after the Revolution of unification of Jena. We have the new university, it's also going ahead university. I have shown you the examples before. We have a new campus. We have, after the reunification, new professors were established, were appointed there, and we have several projects I've shown you at the beginning. And I was appointed 8 years after this reunification. And I can say in these 16 years I'm there, it changed much. It changed really a lot. It changed a lot during the time. And I think now it is one country. Germany is, you can say, it's one country with some problems still. The unemployment is higher in the east than in the west part. That is one problem. And also some neo-Nazis are active in this place. That is also a sad story. But altogether, I can say it is a very nice place for study, for research. It is a beautiful landscape. It is a small village, small city with an old university, with a history beside this time. But all this is part, all the time from 1933 until 1989 is also part of the history. But I think the history is longer. It started 1558 to now. And I think I will invite you to come to Jena. It would be a pleasure for us to increase the number of 41 students from Japan. And I hope I could give you a short introduction to our university. And I please apologize my delay, but thank you very much.
What do you think is different between Japanese student and country student?
Big difference. You mean difference? Difference.
For example, Japanese English skills and
Yeah, that is a problem. That is really a problem. And that is the reason why normally German universities, besides some very famous universities like Heidelberg or Munich, they are teaching now English, but the bachelor courses are in German, but master courses are in English. And I think that should be or would be a very important thing that lectures are more in English, because students from other countries or nobody can, or we can demand that they learn German language. That is the problem. So we have mostly PhD students from other countries, because in the laboratories the language is German. Is English. In my group I have 2 persons from Jordan, from Middle East. I have from Finland, and so the language in my group and other groups is normally principally English. But bachelor courses are still in German language, and that is a problem. That is really a problem. We can change it, but at the moment it's not long. And that is a problem why the percentage of foreign students are relatively low. 8% is not too high. I don't know, what is your rate of international students? Okay, but 8% compared to the American universities, the British university are relatively low. And the reason is, of course, the language. Because when somebody come to or some from a foreign country to another foreign country, or from a country to a foreign country, he prefers English spoken university, and not a German. That is a problem.
Please ask questions freely, not through me.
Yes, ask me please.
German. Where are you from in Germany?
I'm originally from south. I'm from Munich. Munich, that's in the south of Germany, close to the, relatively close to the border to Austria. Munich is around 80 kilometers from Austria. It's very south of Germany. And there I'm born, and 70 years ago I was appointed to professor in Jena. That is little Germany. München. You know, maybe the Oktoberfest. Bayern, München. Bayern, München. Yeah. Tomorrow, no, it's a Thursday. Or tomorrow, no, weekend is the final. Weekend is the final. Bayern München against Borussia Dortmund.
In England.
In England, yes.
ドイツ語取ってる人何人ぐらいいますか？ドイツ語取ってる人何人いますか？ So we just select the second foreign language. So German or Chinese or something. I asked them how many people are studying in
Ein halbes Dutzend Deutschstudenten.
Oh, really?
Ja.
何人ぐらい
6人ぐらいでしょ。
何か喋れますという質問以外So one question is, so do you have an English class, English lecture in your university for the undergraduate course?
English chemistry, I don't know other departments, but not chemistry. But we can change it. Yeah.
Every student going to studying in your university, as an undergraduate student, chemistry or something, so they have to understand the...
That is really a problem. When some... we have the so-called the EAD, that's a German exchange agency, and they offer German courses before somebody will come to Germany, but this is mostly for PhD students. But undergraduates have to learn some fundamentals in German language before they come to our university.
はい、他に質問。あ、来た。
You mean this life liberty? Yeah, that are the mainstreams in our university. Life light means optics, photonics. It's from the physics department, and then life, that means biochemistry, biology, chemistry, and liberty, that means philosophy, history, and social sciences.
Wie lange sind Sie schon in Japan?
Should I answer in English or
No,
German?
English.
I can answer in English. You ask how long I arrived. You mean this time? This time I arrived Saturday.
On Saturday?
On Saturday, yes. Last Saturday I arrived.
You're going to have another class tomorrow? I don't know.
Tomorrow I have a scientific lecture. And on May 31, additional lecture in Heidelberg. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Ah,
I don't know German. I'm taking German, but I don't know. Nothing complicated.
Is religion important at the university?
Outside
of the theology department,
no,
maybe. I mean, there is of course a theology department.
No, we are so-called secularized, or it's also in English, or secularized country, and we have absolutely free, liberal, secularized country. We have a theological faculty, a Protestant one. That is important. Jena is a Protestant one, because it is the origin of theology. No, absolutely. Germany and also the university are not connected to church, or it's absolutely secularized and absolutely liberal.
I think German is famous for beer. Do you speak Japanese beer?
I know Japanese beer. When I was here in 2004 for 3 months, at the evening, students take me in izakaya, and then we drank beer. And I remember big bottles of beer. It is what Killing. In the other breweries, Killing and Sapporo and Suntory, of course. I know.
One little question. So you have a university restaurant. For
so-called Mensa,
So
yeah,
in
different.
the restaurant, the students can drink a beer in
No.
the
No, this is student restaurant.
No beer.
But outside, it's a restaurant. Yeah, of course, yeah. Not in the restaurant from the university.
I see.
But in Munich, it's possible. Well, it was possible when I was a student in Munich, because in Munich, beer is a very important food. That is.
Who möchtest du in Japan gehen?
Wohin? Where? Oh, you speak German? Wohin? Yeah, I go to, on Monday I go to Nagoya. And on Thursday, Tokyo Institute of Technology, on Monday and weekend I go to Kyoto. And Nara, maybe Nara. Beautiful place.
I don't know if it's good to ask, but for example, that is a public university, no?
Yes.
Here in Japan, the public universities are not that cheap still. How do you, like, in general terms,
yes,
how expensive?
that is still yes, public universities are free, more or less free in Germany. Students have not to pay for study.
Not at all.
No. Very, yeah. It was few. Okay, Germany is divided in several countries, and it's a federalistic country, and therefore every country can make its own laws, also laws on university. And some countries have decided that students have to pay not too much, but they have to pay, let's say, 500 euros per semester.
すみません、分かりましたが、カントリーの場合は州のことですね。県ごとに組織されている。
But now there are laws that again this law. I think there's one or two countries where you have to pay, but not in Jena. Jena is free. You have to pay, I think, 100 euros, but then in these 100 euros or 150 euros there is included a ticket, a bus ticket, and several other things, but more or less it's free.
And the like expenditures?
In Jena it's very low. Compared, no, very low, it's not right. I think there's a loop in Germany. The east part is still more inexpensive than the west part. And Munich is relatively expensive. I think that's comparable with Tokyo. And Jena is, compared to Munich, relatively cheap, but some other, Leipzig is cheaper, or other Chemnitz places in East Germany are cheaper. But I think life is not very expensive in Jena. If you rent a student apartment, the price, the rate is around maybe 300, 400 euros. It's not very expensive. And also food is not so very expensive. I think it's much cheaper than Tokyo.
What soccer team do you like in German?
Sorry?
What soccer team do you like in German?
Soccer team.
A soccer team. Soccer team. Yes, I'm a fan, fan from Bayern München. I'm from Munich, and therefore
That's a big nice game.
Yeah.
Against Barcelona.
Yeah, of course. But that is not more so known that Munich has originally two teams, and when the National League was founded, yesterday we talked about 50 years ago, the National League was founded, the German National League, 50 years ago, and at that time, Bayern München was not member of the first league, but 1860 Munich, the so-called 1860, it was a soccer team called 1860 Munich. These are dresses white and blue, and these are the other team. But this team is not more so important. But it was a very important team. You remember maybe 60.
Yeah, I heard of it. But
but now we have just one team.
just one. Saitama has two.
Yeah, I know. The Red Diamonds. And Red Diamonds and yeah.
What classical music do you like? Classical music.
Classic music. Oh yeah, classic music. I think that is a big question. Classic music, you know, we have what I like, or what in German. What I like. Yeah, I like, of course, I like Mozart, Bach. I like Handel. I like Schubert. And you? What do you?
I like Beethoven.
Beethoven. Oh yeah, of course, Beethoven.
My birthday is same to Beethoven.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, great. Oh, that's yeah, last week I was in the opera Munich. That is I think Jena and Weimar has also good orchestras, Philharmonie, and good orchestras and some interesting theaters. The National Theatre in Weimar, but okay, Munich is much better. Munich, three very famous orchestras, the radio orchestra, the Philharmonic orchestra, and the opera orchestra. And last week I was the opera in Munich, Macbeth from Verdi. That is, I'm still living one part in Munich, one part during the week I'm living in Jena, and it's a weekend I'm living in Munich because I like this cultural program. That is much more important.
一応言ってみますけど、質問が出ないな。謎質問が出ないですね。
No more questions? Please ask me. But I'm here this week and yeah.
if I go abroad to study, what ability is necessary?
What is necessary?
Skill.
Skill. It's actually not a problem to go to Germany. You come to Germany and it's universities. There are other students, tutors who are helping you. I think Jena is a good place. I think for this reason, Jena is a good place for a student from other countries, from foreign countries, because it's small. It is, and there's a good interaction between the students from Jena, from original students from Jena or from Germany, and the foreign students from foreign countries. I think there's a really good tutor system. I think that is actually the problem to when you go to Jena. Jena is a small country. It is also a safe country city. It is also I would say a safe city. There are no problems. No racism problems. So absolutely not. Jena is really very liberal.
The only skill that you have to develop to go overseas is yaruki. If you want to go, you can. Just do it. It's a Nike.
Okay, I think one strong difference is here we have this wonderful food. Here in Spain, we have wonderful food, and I think that will be a cultural shock for you when you come to when you go to Riga to this, because the food is you can compare it. when you are here this beautiful food, and so it's also for me difficult when I come back from Japan to Germany or to Vienna. Good question. Okay. Thank you very much for questions. It was very positive.
解釈のノート、実験ノートを今日できることばっかりなんで、先生に一切回されてないと思いますので。